Recording started.
I just want to tell you a bit about Elluminate in case you're new to the platform. This is the participant window, and just below the participant window is a hand with a green up arrow that you can click on to use your mic and will ask questions. In the far right is a blue door, and you'll click on that if you need to step away from your computer. Just below the participants window is the chat window where you'll type your messages. And then you can change who you're sending your messages to by clicking on this drop-down arrow. If you're going to use the mic during the question and answer time, you'll click to turn your mic on and click to turn your mic off. And I'm going to go ahead now and pass it back to Dean and the LiveBinders. So, thanks, Dean.
Hey, Dean, do you have your mic on?
All right. We'll try that again. Thank you, Kim. I want to welcome Cerise, Martin, and Meg, and Roland for the attending tonight's show. It's greatly appreciated. I know with several things going on this evening, we don't necessarily have the crowd that we normally do, but for those of you here, please make sure, if you got questions that Tina Snyder or Barbara Talent could go ahead and answer for you tonight while we're going through the tips and tricks and how to use these in the classroom. This is the one thing about these two ladies that it's been a great honor to kind of work with them, is they're always open to listen to everybody's thoughts and input, and in working on improving, or I should say enhancing, not improving, but enhancing LiveBinders itself. So I want to take this moment and turn things over to Tina and Barbara.
Hey, Dean, thank you. Hi, everyone. I think maybe you might have to turn off your mic, Dean. Okay. So basically, we wanted to get an opportunity to hear some of your questions, but also to share some binders that are used in the classroom. We hear a lot about teachers wanting to try different tools with students, and we've seen some great examples of different kinds of Web 2.0 tools that are out there, and there are some great LiveBinders where they've incorporated many of those, and we thought we'd share with them with you and share some ideas. So one of the first things we want to do, and I think Barbara's going to lead this, is first get a show of hands. How many of you have ever used LiveBinders before? We want to see the gamut of experience here. And okay, so here we go. So we have 2 people that are new to LiveBinders. No, we have 1 person that's new. Okay, so all of you then raise your hands if you have used LiveBinders before. Okay, so half of you have used LiveBinders. So then the other half know about LiveBinders but have just never tried it before. Am I getting the right feedback here? Okay, so that's 4 people. Okay, so there's some familiarity with LiveBinders. That's the feeling that I'm getting. Okay, so okay, I know of but haven't used it. Okay, want to see what it has to offer. Okay. All right, so what we were going to do next is have everybody maybe type in their top question that they'd like to see get answered today, and depending on our time, we're going to try to answer as many of those questions as you come up with. So if you can type them into the chat box, we'll try to get them on the whiteboard here and answer them near the end of the show. Okay, I'm going to try to copy it here. Okay, so I'm going to try to use this. Let's see. No, I'm going to use this one and try to copy down some of your questions. Would love to set it up for 4th graders as a go-to site. Okay, Meg, we have some examples of that we're going to show tonight, where a lot of teachers have done that. I'm scrolling down here. Bestest tip for LiveBinder is the presenter mode. Okay. Mode. Do you know how soon we'll be able to add smartboard files? Okay.
You can upload smartboard files now, Nidra, and be able to do that. That was one thing that Barbara actually kind of helped me out on. But Tina and Barbara, if you two want to go ahead and go, I'll monitor the chat window and kind of get the questions here for you.
Okay, so you see where I put the text box in? Dean, I don't know if you can do that, add to the text box on the whiteboard, but...
Oh, that's okay.
Way, okay, you'll remember it? Okay, great.
I've got my
All right, so Kim, if you want to load
paper.
that website. Okay, great. So we're waiting for, Kim's going to load the binder that we put together that has a bunch of people's binders on it. Okay, here we go. Now I'm not able to see anything yet. Is anybody else seeing anything? Oh, here we go. Okay, great. So what we have here is a binder that is called Examples of Classroom Uses of LiveBinders. And what I did is I stuck a bunch of binders within this big binder. And I just want to go over the different kinds of applications that the teachers have done. And the first one we're going to look at, and if Kim, if you can click on that link there that says http://livebinders.com for Mrs. Knight's SNGS, it'll launch that binder outside of this window so that we can see the whole thing. So I would click on that link right here, right there. If you look above, no, not that one, not that one. Yeah, that one. Yes, click on that one. Okay, so now we're looking at the binder of Mrs. Knight's English class. And what I liked about this binder here is that she really uses a lot of, really pushes LiveBinders to its fullest. She incorporates, if you go to my SNGS, yeah, that tab right there, Kim, she's got the typical school blog here where she's been given a website, but if you scroll down, she basically says, you know, the website's down, and she gives the kids the link to the LiveBinder, and so she uses the LiveBinder as the place to go for all of her kids. So everything that they would need to conduct themselves in this English class is in this binder, and so when she needs to update material, all she has to do is go to her LiveBinder shelf, select that binder, and then update those links. She can bypass the whole web page interface, but yet she does use it and puts her link on there as Kim is pointing there at the bottom. Kim, if you click on the next tab called Syllabus, what was interesting here, and if you click on, for example, Student Survey, she uses Google Docs, which is, as many of you know, an online Word document tool. And here she's created, we don't have to log in, but she's created a way for students to conduct emails, surveys within the binder, so she can constantly get feedback from her students. And she's created a special login. She's using the Google Docs spreadsheet, and you know, she doesn't have to keep sending emails. She can just stick them in the binder, and the kids can get to them whenever she calls on them. The other thing that was neat, if Kim, you click at the very last sub-tab called Parent Survey, she's also got one where she can engage the parents. So clearly the parents have access to this binder as well and can see all of the material that she's giving to the kids on particular subjects that they're covering. If, Kim, you click over to Literature Book, the first sub-tab over here, yeah, I think I wanted to point out that she's also using proprietary content, like from Glencoe and McGraw-Hill. She puts the link in there, does their, signs in with their special login, and the students get material from McGraw-Hill all within the binder. So I thought that was a very clever way to get all of her material in one location. If you click up, Kim, if you click on the vocabulary tab that's at the very top, I noticed that she had found a whole bunch of really cool vocabulary learning websites. One of them that I thought was neat was Visi Words. Yeah, right there. If you scroll down a little bit, it's a highly interactive way to look at where words come from and where does meaning come from, and the kids can interact with them directly into this website in the binder. Another one that I thought was cool was, I think it's called Words. I'm trying to think. Is it VerbaLearn? No. WordSip. That's it. So here, kids can type in a word. For example, they give an example of evolution. So if you type in evolution, Kim, and you scroll down at the bottom and click on the word, I think there's a button that says sift. Yeah, it breaks up the word into different meanings for what that could possibly be. So it gives a visual for the kids, and I like that she has it in the binder because it's right there for the kids to kind of instantly get to, and they don't have to try to find the link. Another one that I thought was cool is called the Wall Wisher, which they were doing, if you go up on the very top link, they were doing a study on Pride and Prejudice, and so I don't think it will pop up very easily, but it basically is, you click on the Pride and Prejudice link, it's a software that lets you put post-it notes on a wall. If you click on Pride and Prejudice up at the top, the one above it, yeah. The kids were able to put their opinions about each of the characters and the story narrative. This will take a while to load, and it's something that you guys can go back and take a look at, but I thought it was a really interesting read to be able to go back and see all of the kids' different opinions, and there you can see it all. So you can see Danielle says, I can relate to the theme because I know how it feels to have people move away and have it break apart the family. So the kids can just put their own opinions about things, and it ends up becoming a really interesting dialogue that is put in place on this wall. It's kind of a graffiti concept, post-it note concept, but here it is within the binder. It looks like it overrode the binder there. So if you can do a back button, Kim, that should take you back to the binder, like right control back. Okay, so then let's see, she's got random sites, she's got her blogs in here. So again, this is like the go-to concept that one of you, I think Meg, was asking about. Kim, I think if you hit the back button on your browser, you should be able to go back to the example binder, and we'll move on to another example. I think, I can't see your browser, but I think at the very top you should be able to hit the back button in your browser, and it will go back to the example binder on the upper left. There you go. Okay. So the next binder is Class Projects. And it's the second blue tab right there. Yeah, perfect. Click on that link and then we'll open it up. So this one was put together by the middle school's tech librarian. And what she did was, obviously she's in charge of introducing different technologies for different class projects. And I just want to point out some of them. Here she highlights, you don't have to click on the blogging one. The one that I wanted to show is the voice thread in particular. But there she shows a whole bunch of different applications that the kids have used for different reasons. This one here is VoiceThread, which is a slideshow application, but you can put voice over it. And so she talks about here how a boy did a math project explaining how he understood some geometry concepts. And it's, I don't know if the voice will come out, the sound will come out, but he does diagrams. If you can see the red line going on in the slideshow, he's explaining parallelograms and right angles, which I thought was interesting. You can go back and try to hear it later on your own. If you click up on Mummification by Julia and Rihanna, that's also another cool project. The girls here tried to explain how the mummification process goes using a Barbie doll, and they did a very interesting presentation using the VoiceThread example, going through different images and explaining how the process works using this doll. So it's a very interesting presentation to view when you get a chance. Then another one that I thought was compelling was the Animoto tab. And here, this is for a social studies class. And this one's very compelling if you guys ever get a chance to listen to this. It basically allows you to create an animation using images, music, sound, text. And Theron did a little, very short video about the Native American immigrants, and it's very, very moving. The images that he chose, the way that they flow in and out, the timing with the music, and the words that he chose to describe the story is really something. And there are a few other examples up there that if you get a chance to take a look at and listen to, you'll really be impressed by. So I think we can move on to another binder. And I think all you have to do, Kim, is again hit the back button on your browser to go back to the example binder. Oh, we lost it. There we go. Okay, so we're back to Mrs. Knight. We might need to go back to the 49046 binder.
Now, Tina, the binder that you're kind of going through, isn't that the link that was up early in the chat?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to recopy that for those that are just getting in. You guys can scroll up in the chat window and you'll see a link, but I'm going to copy it and put it here in the bottom of our window.
Yeah, I encourage you guys to take a look at some of the work that the students
there you go.
did. That's not, it's 4907, Dean.
Oh.
Or 4906, right? Yeah, 404, it should be at the very top.
Okay, yeah, 49046.
Let me put it in. Yeah, let me put it in. I have it somewhere.
There you go.
Hold on 1 second. Yeah, that looks like it. It's on the very last of our slides too, so let me just scroll down there and make sure. Yeah, 49046. Yeah. Okay. So I think Kim, you must be having problems loading it again. Shall we? Okay, here we go. Okay, here we are. Okay, so the next one that I have on here, really quickly, let's see, we can click on the Arctic Web Quest. this teacher here is obviously doing a science project, but what she did was she used the binder as an information go-to place for the science quest. So she wants the students to learn about the polar bears, and she's provided all the resources that she wants them to look at. So they're not going to be wandering around, they're going to be doing in-depth research within the binder. And she lays out how she's going to be grading them under the evaluation tab. If you go look at that really quickly, she just lays out, you're going to be doing a science experiment, and she has a YouTube video that covers that, and then she gives an assignment. You get a partner, follow the directions, and the question for that is, why is it that the polar bears aren't cold when they're swimming in this freezing water? And so that's the experiment they're going to do. And then she gives, she lays out other kinds of projects that they're going to do together, and that's how they're going to be evaluated. And then she provides all the material, the YouTube videos. For example, if you go to the #1 blubber glove experiment, she grabbed that just from YouTube and explains on the right-hand side in text what they're going to be doing and how they're going to conduct their science experiment. And she's also uploaded Word documents that they can print out and fill out on their own. So I thought that was a very interesting way to engage the kids online, but have it in a controlled environment. Okay, so there's another project that I thought was pretty interesting if you want to hit the back button there. And that one was, I think many of you are familiar, I've done this myself, where you do a trip report, where you do all the research traveling to either a state or another country, and you're supposed to find out all about that country. In my day, we did it, going to the library and finding books, but now you can go online. And this teacher put a whole binder together of just resource material, not only for the students, but also for the teachers, as you see here, resource for teachers. And she's laid out kind of a lesson plan of how they can, all the resources that might be useful for doing a project like this. So yeah, she's got the lesson plans laid out and different resources that you can use, so you don't have to do it one way. You can kind of pull things from different areas. If you click on the Google tab up there, she's incorporated different resources from Google Earth. So if you really wanted the kids to actually see, where they're going to be doing their project from a Google Earth perspective, she's got the resources there. Let's see. And then she, under physical, I think there was something interesting there. Oh yeah, so then she has different games that the kids can play, learning games around the kids, world games, other games that I guess teach you about different cultures. So it's also an interactive site, and I would imagine that she would take each one of these links and present them to the class one at a time, not necessarily presenting this binder, but at least she has all her materials here in one location. And then Kim, if you go back out, I have an example of one of her students' binders. So they did a trip project, I think it was to India. And basically they wrote their story in each of the tabs and provided some kind of a link, whether it was an image or a website. So if you click on day 1, or the flight to India is interesting. They grabbed their price ticket, what the price would be, what airline they would use. Obviously something that they would do today if they needed to find a flight somewhere. And then they go through day by day, where did they go, what museums did they see, and they would capture an image and then tell their story. So here is where the binder can be used as kind of a portfolio or a project presentation. So the next project, a binder that I have up there, is an example science binder. And I just found this one and I thought it was really interesting. So she has, I love the tab Do Now. Like, you've got to check this tab every day. So she has assignments in there laid out, and you can just, she's got the dates on there so the kids know exactly when this is due. And, I would imagine these are for class days. So, and she has them as uploaded documents, so PDFs appear and they can print them out. If kids are absent, obviously they can go to the binder and check and see where the material is. Under notes and classwork, she's used this binder to put all the notes that she's covered in class and any other handouts that they've had. You can see she's just had an enormous amount. We don't necessarily have to click on it, but you can see that this is just a huge resource for her. She's got homework laid out in much the same way. So here is, she's not necessarily using interactive sites, but she's using this as a way to document and to keep track of material that she is using in her classroom. And obviously the kids can get to this material. They can see stuff that's coming and they can see stuff that has happened. Tests and quizzes too is interesting that she has them there available for the students. Okay, so let me go back. I have another student project. If we go back, I forgot to mention in one of the binders, a teacher, which teacher was it, had a bibliography. Oh, if you go back to Arctic WebQuest, I just wanted to show something. Under bibliography, she listed all of the websites that she referenced in the binder, and I don't know how many of you know this, but in the binder we have a link that's called Details, if you can see that, Kim. It actually grabs all of the link material, copyright information if the website provides it. Oops, there we go. We lost it. And it automatically pulls it for you. So if you, I know you want to have kids learn about, referencing their sources, but the binder does do some of that, if not most of it, for you by grabbing those links and putting them in a list format and telling you where the website came from, what is the website URL. Here we go. So this is an example details page. It tells you who the author is, when it was created, and then if you go down, it tells you per tab where did the link come from. It gives you the actual link. So for example, Flickr has certain copyright issues, and so it provides the name of the Flickr author and the referencing URL. So we try, having worked with teachers before and knowing how important it is to reference your work, that we try to do that automatically in what we call the Details tab, but we also reference it as a Credits tab. So I don't know how many of you know that, but that is there. Okay, so the last one that I was going to show is a student. It was one of our first student binder projects, and it was kids working with 3D applications, and it was a way for them to have a portfolio of all the 3D objects in a binder, and so each tab represents one piece of a Rubik's Cube project that they did in class. So the teacher could just look at each binder and check out each of their images in one place, and then as you go through each tab you can see kind of the chronological order which the students created their 3D objects. and the process that they went through. There's some diagramming in some of these tabs, and then it shows all the pieces together. So it can be, you know, even an online portfolio for students. So I think one of you asked about presentation mode, and I believe what you're seeing here is presentation mode. And presentation mode basically eliminates a lot of the space at the top that you see, where it's got the author name and the details and the ratings, and it makes it more of a larger screen image. So if you were presenting a binder in class as if it were a presentation, and then that would be a much larger, cleaner version for you to do. And hopefully that answers your question there. Okay, so for example, you're seeing examples of classroom uses of LiveBinders, and inside of them I put presentation mode of each binder, and that's why it's not, it doesn't have all of the other information at the top. Okay, we're really making you work for your money here. Okay, well I think will just point out, we don't have to necessarily click on them, but at the end of the binder I give you some other examples. It's called Other Binders way at the end, of some other, we've kind of pinpointed from our blog, you know, some binders that we thought were useful for educators. There are some teachers out there that want to get away from the textbook, and they're getting more into quote-unquote tech books. So we have some example tech books that are full of information on particular subjects like history and science. So we provided that link there. And then some of the other projects that I put in there, okay, we have a hand raised. Hi. Do we have a question? Okay. So, oh, is that your district down there? Okay. What are some other, so I have, let's see, there's a Shakespeare project that was interesting. A student did a project on Iran. So I just have some other example binders that if you wanted to take a look at them, you could, and we can always keep adding to that binder as we go on. And then the last tab, we've had teachers ask for materials that they can use to give kind of an in-school training session for other teachers to use LiveBinders. So we thought we'd provide a PowerPoint slide and a PDF version of the PowerPoint slides if that is something you guys would be interested in doing, even just as a tutorial. And then, although I don't have it in this binder, we do have the tips and tricks binder. You can just do a search on our website for tips and tricks, and that would also give you some pointers. In fact, if you go to the website and you go to the featured binders page, which Kim seems to be doing right now, very good. You know, over on the right there are a whole bunch of categories, and if you click on More Education, hopefully we're not going to lose it again. But if you click on more education, we have more of the educational subjects and categories. And you can also do a search. For example, under science, we have science, but then you could do a search for chemistry, and you will be able to see all the binders that have been created, public binders that have been created for that particular subject. Oh, we lost it. So I think I've taken up a lot of space here. I don't know if Barbara, you want to lead into any of the questions that you've seen. I haven't been reading any of the chat, so I don't know what questions people may have.
Yeah, I think we can go on into the questions. On the smartboard files one, you can upload those into a binder. And Dean, you actually got that working, right?
Yeah, after you gave me some worked with me that one time during email, I was able to upload some stuff to where if we went and opened that binder, we would be able to then download smart notebook files that way. So yes, it's capable of doing that for those of you that were interested. I know, not Kim, but Meg was one of them on here that was saying something, asking about that. And if you ladies want, I could share my desktop, and that way I could pull up a LiveBinder, and we can go about that way in case, hopefully that way we don't have to worry about Kim coming and going. I was teasing her about falling asleep on the keyboard.
Okay, that would be great.
All right. Let me do this right quick.
So Tina, while he's doing that, one of the questions that came up was, are we going to go by the way of delicious?
Oh, we just found out about that.
Yeah, pretty interesting.
Yeah, now for those of you that are just going, I know there is a way to import some of your delicious stuff, but if you're like me, there's so many of them out there, I don't have time to let it collect and import.
Yeah, so we have within the edit mode of a binder, if you go into a binder, we let you search Flickr images, we let you search YouTube videos, and they embed directly into a binder with you. You can also copy and paste the links in, but this is a particular library that we provide. We also have Delicious Library, and it lets you put in your delicious links. It shows you about 5 at a time, and you can put them into a binder 1 at a time. But if you're looking, like you said, Dean, if you've got tens or hundreds of delicious links that you'd just like to get into a binder, that's something that we could look at doing. We started talking about this when we found out that Delicious was
going bye-bye.
Be around. Yeah, going to be.
Okay, can
gone.
everybody see my screen?
Yeah, I see things going on.
I kind of covered up chat, so just let me know. Okay. I'm kind of sneaking, you guys can probably see where I'm sneaking it up on you here. I'm going to try something. Hopefully this doesn't change screen. Do you guys still see the LiveBinder?
Yeah, it's moving around though, but it looks stable now.
All right, there, stable. Okay, go ahead, Barbara or Tina, or what, and I can kind of guide from here if you're wanting to point out, because I know some of the stuff that came up was talking about password protecting a binder. That was from Meg. Sharing the links, which was what came up, and this is where I kind of put it in the chat window, folks, right down here at the bottom. Yeah, 229 unread flirts. You're right, Nancy. I can't keep up. Hopefully, I've got Twitter over on my dual screen, so that way you guys don't have to worry about that. So, but you can see right here, you can email links, or the binder. You can add it to Flirt. You can tweet it out. Here's embed the binder so you can get the embed code. Here's to post it to Facebook, or if you want to like it. And then, like Nancy was asking, if you press P, then it becomes in presentation mode, which kind of takes away some of the other stuff you're not going to necessarily edit or something, but that's what's nice. It's kind of full screen. The way I describe the presentation mode is, think of presenting in PowerPoint or presenting in Keynote.
Yeah,
how it kind of changes the layout.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at Mrs. Knight's binder in this binder, it doesn't have any of the other ratings, or it doesn't take up a lot of top space. So that is, and you can even see the URL says present. So present mode is really, like Dean said, it's just a cleaner, larger version if you were to present it on screen, like to a large audience. So, okay, I don't know if you want to step in since I've been talking so much, Barbara, but I think doing private binders might be a good idea to mention.
Yeah, Dean, do you want to go into the editor on one of your binders? So that
yep, I'll bring one of mine up. Let me go ahead and jump in here. I'll just go into Simplify Virtually here. Okay, and then you want me in Edit menu?
Yes, please.
Okay. Oh. Let me tweet that. All right. All right, now we shouldn't get any more interruptions. There you go.
Okay, so this is where you can set up, and if you just want to pull down on the access there, you can set up a private binder. It's private by default when you first start a binder, but if you want to make it public, you can make it public. If you don't want anybody to copy it, you want them to see it but not copy it, you can just disable copy here too, so you can make it copyable or not. Some people don't care if their binders are copied, others don't want them copied, so that's where you set that up. So we just added a new feature here called Binder Author Name to the right there. And that lets you, if you're collaborating on binders, you may not want just your name up there, but the name of the people that are collaborating on the binders. So you can type that in, and that is the author name that will show up on the binder. And there's also, here's where you can change the description and add tags. I see Nancy says there's public name for everyone. So if you just want to share with a small group, you would make it private, and you would enter in a key down below. And when you email the URL around, you'll need to have the key to access it. But you can email it to your whole class. As long as they have the key, they can access it. So that's how you handle. Go ahead, Dean.
So there would be your answer, Meg. When Meg was asking earlier about password protect, just put where it says key, Meg. That's key means password.
Yeah. So, and you know, so I was talking a little bit about the description and the tag. You put tags in there. That's what helps things show up on our searches. So if people are looking for chemistry resources, if you've got a chemistry tag in there, it just helps people find your binders.
Here, we've got, what, about 9 minutes left, so Barbara, do you want me to hit on each one of these and then you can quickly explain to them? Because right now we're in that properties.
Yeah, we can probably go to delicious too and all that.
Okay. Here, I'll go to upload file real quick on that option so you can explain that to them.
Okay, this is how you upload a file from your desktop. And we recommend that you upload PDFs or JPEGs because those will actually show up inside the binder. You can upload lots of different types of documents, documents, but those will typically download instead of showing up inside the binder. So that's why we recommend that format. So you can add tabs and delete tabs up at the top with that little arrow next to the tab. But you can also do it here from the menu. And the real advantage down here at this menu is that if you want to move one tab from one side of the binder to the other, you can do it very quickly from this menu. Just say move left, move left, move left very quickly. So that's the advantage there. Inserting media, you can upload Flickr images, and if you want an image on your cover, this is generally where it comes from, Flickr images. You can find YouTube videos. This is where you can upload some delicious bookmarks. And then this last one, All My Tabs, everything you've ever added to a binder is here in All My Tabs. So if you have things in one binder and you want to put them in another binder, this is where you search for them. So do you want to go to text layout, Dean?
Yep. I was just writing down a quick question that popped up because Sarit and them were asking, since Delicious going away, are you going to make that where it's Digo, where it'll search your Digo bookmarks?
Yeah, that's a really interesting one. I'd like to do that. We've got it on the list. I don't know what the priority is right now, but it's definitely an interesting one.
You're absolutely right, Stacy, on the theme binders. That's the way when I do training sessions, I kind of recommend you do a theme or a specific curriculum area per binder and then be a little more organized that way. So here would be, this is Barbara could probably point out, but for those of you who are used to PowerPoint and Keynote, you know, here looks like these text layouts you would understand, everybody should understand. So I'm going to bring up the LiveBinder It because that was one thing that got real popular. So I know we've got about 6 minutes left, and I know that's the big collaboration piece that both of you ladies want to talk about.
Yeah, that sounds good.
So there you go.
Yeah, so for those of you who are familiar with LiveBinders, or those who are not, this is what pops up from your browser. And so if you're just surfing the web and you want to add something to one of your binders, you can do it here. And you can either update an existing binder or create a new binder. So Dean, if you pull down on your existing binders, it'll show all of Dean's binders, but then below it'll show binders where he is a collaborator. So he can add to other people's binders who have designated him as a collaborator. So that's our newest feature, is allowing people to collaborate on binders.
Yeah, and I would actually go to your shelf, Dean, and show how flexible the shelf is and how you can see other people's binders within your shelf as well. Because I think conceptually, you know, understanding that binders are binders and you have content in them, but also knowing that you have many binders, and it's nice to have a shelf that you can go to and find your resources. And I think as we expand out the collaboration concept and the customized shelf concept, which we're coming to hopefully in the near future, you'll see how shelves become really important as you collect more binders. And Dean has a lot of binders. So I'll let Barbara continue here, but
yeah, so up at the top under the All My Binders, this is showing all of Dean's binders, but if he pulls down that menu, you'll see he can look at just his public binders, just his private binders, the binders that he has shared with others, or the binders that others have shared with him. So go ahead and click on Others Shared, Dean.
Am I late?
And so you'll see here the other binders that people have shared with him, and so that's a nice way to view binders that you're collaborating on. So the other option on the My Binder shelf is the ability to sort. And you can, they're by default sorted by most recent, so you always have the binders that you were working on at the top. But if you want to sort them alphabetically or find out if anybody's commented recently on any of your binders, that's the way to do it. So you want to click on Options, Dean, and we'll show how you set up a binder for collaboration. So you click on Collaborate here. And then you'll need to enter in the email addresses on the right here of the people that you want to collaborate with. And you do need to know the email address that they signed up with LiveBinders. So that's the only tricky thing. So
now, one thing you probably ought to clarify is, and correct me if I'm wrong, but when they do add a collaborator, they have to fill in this whole thing for that email to go, correct?
that is correct. If you want an email sent to the people you're collaborating with, then you do need to fill out all the information below after you've added them.
And I was reading the chat messages here, so I may have missed it, but did we specify that the email addresses that you use are the ones that are used for the LiveBinder login?
Yeah.
You just did.
Okay, thank you. I'm always just a little too slow.
So one of the things that was asked on there again was the collaboration piece. So hopefully, Cerise, Meg, all of you that were asking that, Nancy, you can put multiple people in there. Like, for example, this ESDAC TIG one, this is being shared by probably 20 people in different school districts here in central Kansas, because each month what we do, and I'll bring it up right quick, because Kim's going to probably cut us off here in the closing moments, but what we do is, since we meet once a month, I'm going to go in and finish cleaning this up, but we're going to have one tab that's called Monthly Shares. So that way those participants that show up for that monthly meeting, all their stuff they want to share there is here, and then we'll take it from this appropriate tab and put it into the proper one, 21st Century Learning. Was it a science link? Was it an English link? And then that way we don't have to remember which month it was shared in. We just got to remember which category. Was it a history site? You know, all of you would probably understand that. Oh, so we're good to continue. All right. Thank you, Kim. That'll be good.
Yeah, we got started a little late, too. So that's nice. Yeah, you know, the long links are, we need to fix that, but those long links that you see in the sub-tabs are just, if you don't put a title in, if you don't manually put a title in when you're doing LiveBinder It, it just takes the URL or the title and sticks it in there as the title of that sub-tab. That's why you get so long manually, but you just need to take the time to shorten those. But you can see how a lot of people have been contributing there.
Are you guys still there?
Hey.
LiveBinder's long into the night. There you go.
Yeah, so Barbara, let's see, we've covered how to, we have a new thing where you can remove yourself from collaboration. I don't know if that's something you want to show.
We can do that in case somebody wanted to remove somebody from it. Let's say a student moved away, or a student due to issues, or a teacher's no longer there.
Mm-hmm. So you would just go to to others shared on your shelf.
Okay.
Well, this is if you want to remove yourself. If you want to remove somebody, you just use the same interface.
So you want me at others shared, okay?
So others shared, yeah. So that's if Dean, if you want to remove yourself from the K20 binder collaboration, you just say remove me, and then you're no longer a collaborator on that binder. Let's just say, you know, it's been a while and you just want to get the binder off your shelf. Or, like you said, I've moved and I'm no longer in this project. Or I mistakenly got put on this project, you could remove yourself. And then on the other side of that is if a teacher wants to remove a student or another teacher by, you know, for whatever reason, they can do that by using the same, going to My Shared. And then just clicking, let's see if you go, yeah, collaborate. And then you'll see all the current collaborators, so you just click on one of those boxes and then you say remove. So click on, you know, you can click on somebody and it will highlight that person, and then you just say remove and remove it. Yeah, like that.
I remove her, I'll get canned.
Yeah, it could be dangerous. So, is there anything in the interface that somebody had a question on? Dean, you're doing a great job there. Oh, you know, we never got to show the category searches, and I kind of wanted to do that. So if we go to featured binders.
While we're doing that, one thing I'll point out to everybody is up here when you're searching, you don't have to be logged in to search, but there's search featured binders, or you can click on the tab, or in your binders, or if you know the author name, you could do it and then look at all the binders by just that one author.
Yeah, and in fact, you can share the author shelves and shelves of categories to other people if you want to share more than one binder. That's the way to do it. So,
and you can also click on the author's name.
Yeah, right here, one thing, and then I'll show you that. But right here, one thing, folks, if you don't know, they do have a wiki, LiveBinders for Teachers. Isn't that PB Works?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay. All right,
that's
so more education. There you go.
So we've broken down more educational categories that you could search by. So if you clicked on Chinese, for example, you'd get all of the Chinese language binders that were made public. And then if you look down there, you can see that we created a URL so you can share that shelf of binders with a student, or put it on your web page or on your wiki page as kind of your own personal resource of Chinese language binders. And in fact, every time a new Chinese binder pops up, it'll show up on that shelf. And then you can also do more specific searches. I think there's an advanced search. So if you wanted to, I think a good example is if you wanted to find chemistry binders, if you typed in chemistry in that box.
Everybody's watching. I gotta make sure I spell it right.
And so all the chemistry binders that were created and labeled as chemistry, either in the description or the tag or in the title, shows up. And again, you have a link to that. So you can see how the shelf becomes almost this portable library of resources for you. And again, every time a chemistry binder is created, it ends up on that chemistry shelf link. So you don't have to worry about trying to update or get the latest. Somebody's asking a question. Stacy, you're asking a question. I don't know if anybody was answering it.
Oh, they're chatting about ESV.
Oh, okay. You're
no,
proactive.
I don't. The session I was asked to serve on the panel didn't get approved, so I'll be back here.
Okay, and then I don't know if anybody ever clicks on, when they're in the Featured Binders tab, but you can see recent binders. I've always wanted to show that off, so I'm going to do that. So you can click on Featured Binders again.
Okay. Maybe. And then you said most recent?
Yeah, you can always see the most recent binders, who's updated what. And you can see most viewed. There's a binder right there on Smartboard Resources. Oh,
that would be Cerise.
Cerise, there you are.
We're going to show hers off.
So anything you need to know about Smartboard?
Well, you're a newbie that's got a clue there, Cerise.
Yeah. You know, the other thing too is the other thing too is you can click on her username up there on the left, and you can see all of the binders. If you want to see more that Cerise has created, you can then capture the link there on the right, and anytime she publishes a binder, you'll have it in yourself.
Here, I'm going to cheat. I'm going to just steal your series. I'll just go right here and say, make a copy. Now I have a copy of your series.
Yeah, and if you actually, just so you know, if you open that up and you click on details, we highlight that you copied it from the original author. So it says their original author is Cerise. And some people like to use binders as a template, and they can take some of the links and add their own. But we thought it would be important to kind of know where the original binder came from.
Teachers are also doing this for e-portfolios, setting up a standard template and then letting the students copy it.
Yeah, and I guess if a student copied somebody else's binder, I guess you would know about that as well.
Now, Tina and Barbara, Nancy's asking how is featured selected?
That's by just being public.
Oops. No,
Don't log me out. Stop.
Oops.
That's all right. I'll click back in.
Oh.
One thing I'll point out to everybody real quick, we kind of touched on that LiveBinder It. And what you'll do is you'll come right over here to Create Binder.
Oh, that's a good idea, Dean.
And go right here, click on it, and just drag it up into your toolbar, your bookmark area, as it explains to you to do. And I have it in Safari, I have it in Chrome, I have it in Firefox. I don't use IE. And I even have it to a degree via my iPad. So.
Yeah, we need to create an easier way to get it in your iPad, but Barbara figured out a way to circumvent that. And IE is not an easy one it's not a drag and drop. It does require a little bit of right mouse clicking, but you can get it up there pretty quickly.
Yes. So in the tips and tricks binders, it tells you how to get it into the iPad. It's not easy, but it's there.
Now up here is a question. In chat from Martin, I was wondering about e-portfolio component. It seems that it would be a natural progression for our intercollaboration in the physical realm. Yeah, Martin, a nearby high school is using LiveBinders with their seniors for that exact thing, e-portfolios, where you can upload stuff. So like what we showed earlier when we were in a specific binder, so if I jump back here real quick, and I just went in here to this one, and just there in that edit menu, you could have your kids upload, where it says upload file. You could upload a movie, you could upload, like you see in MOV format, you could upload an MP3, so if they've created podcasts, you could do that. So that would be one way of going to be able to do that. So there's a lot of ways to be able to use those.
Yeah, I mean, even if we're uploading their stuff to YouTube or one of the other Web 2.0 sites, those links fit naturally in the binder. So it's like one of those places where you can combine anything that has a link and it's all in one place. So you don't necessarily have to have some kind of compatibility issue.
Now, Mary, I'll be honest with you, I'm not in the classroom. The students I have are my college students, and that's my main emphasis next semester, is the ability to use that for e-portfolio. But I know, talking with those at the nearby high school that is doing that, they really like it. And what's nice is on a blog post after I got to actually do a podcast interview with Tina and Barbara back, let's see, that was last February. And what's nice is, like Meg asked earlier with the password security, that's one way of keeping your IT people happy, that yes, it may come up in the filter as a file sharing site, and they don't want files shared. You know, we don't know what's going to get shared. But at least this way, if they would open it up, knowing that you have a password secure, you'd be able to do it. But it's pretty nice, and their students are enjoying it.
You know, you can also password protect your documents within a password protected binder too, to make, you know, if you're really concerned about it. That's another thing that people have done.
Now, how would you go about doing that?
Well, that's so for example, if you're uploading a Word document, and you know how Word allows you to password protect it.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah. And like even with seeing the McGraw-Hill Glencoe proprietary stuff, you know, you have to log in to view it. And if you're already logged in, it shows up in the binder, no problem. And if you're not logged in, then you log in through the binder and then it appears. So it's again, it's just you know, a way to keep it all together without inhibiting you from using it within the binder interface. So if you open up the document, it'll ask you, the Word document, for example, it'll ask you, okay, what's your Word password? And then once you put it in, it opens it up. So if the binder got out and got to somebody, they still wouldn't be able to see the document without knowing that Word doc password. Or, for example, a private YouTube video, right? You'd have to log in if it were set to private, but it would be available through the binder. Does that make sense?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Well, any other questions or anything from everybody? Or I bet you need a little time to sit back and absorb a little, have time to think about it. Change the access from public to private and private to public. Is that what you're asking me?
Yeah, that's a good question. Only the original owner of the binder could do that.
Yeah.
So, yeah, so you can't have, you know, the original owner, somebody should have some proprietary control over that stuff. So that stuff is all blocked off for any collaborator, and only the owner can change the title of the binder, can change the access key. So really your collaborator is only invited to add content and edit content.
Any questions or anything, everybody? We'll have this archived, and once we get it archived, I'll actually probably upload it into YouTube, since, yay, YouTube's done away with their 15-minute time limit. You'll be able to, because I know we've got some binders with Mike Fisher from October, Web 2.0 Classroom, Steve Anderson from last month, we've got that, so we'll get those shared as well. But here's your chance to ask. Otherwise, I know my wife's bugging me here on the cell phone, and I keep hitting ignore. That'll get me in trouble.
That's funny, I got a text message from my husband.
We appreciate everybody spending time with us tonight.
Yeah, thank you, and it's really good questions too. Cerise, multitasking at its finest.
Especially when you're an hour ahead of us, Cerise. That's a late supper.
Thank you.
Okay, great. Thank you, everyone.
All right, well, thanks, folks. Appreciate, again, Kim Caise on the backside producing when
Thank you,
she
Kim.
wasn't falling asleep on the keyboard.
Thank you, Kim.
For all of you, to let you know, we will have our next show January 13th. It's going to be Kelly. Yeah, Kelly Tinkley of iLearnTechnology.com on the 13th of January. So hopefully all of you that are here tonight will come back and listen to what she has to say and resources she's going to share with us. So.
Yeah, I like the title, creative. What was it again?
Creatively thinking.
Yeah, I like that.
So everybody have a Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, be safe over New Year's, and we'll catch you in 2011.
Okay. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Kim.